on Y News. Vice President Leni Robredo vows to publicize her findings and recommendations from her shortened time as co-chair of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs. SEA Games organizers admit mistakes on transportation and accommodation delays and assure to be more diligent as the opening ceremony nears. The Department of Health confirms another polio case in the country. The Philippine National Police arrests more than 200 individuals for vaping in public places. And Members Church of God International invites homeless and persons with disabilities to a global celebration. Good evening. Vice President Leni Robredo vows to release public reports of her discoveries and recommendations on the government's anti-drug war. This after President Rodrigo Duterte dismissed her as co-chairperson of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs, or ICAD. Rosalie Cos details why.
18 days after her appointment as drug czar, Vice President Leni Robredo gets dismissed as the co-chair of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs, or ICAD. According to Presidential Spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, this is President Rodrigo Duterte's response to the call of opposition leader Senator Francis Pangilinan and to VP Robredo herself to just fire her as drug czar after the president admitted he does not trust her. The palace official says as an appointee, she taunted her appointing power.
But she never presented any program at all. As I can see, have you heard her present any problem? Moreover, you must remember that it's the VP Leni herself asking the president to fire her.
Malacanang has mentioned before the vice president took missteps as drug czar when she just kept on releasing press statements instead of approaching the president to clarify her authority parameters. She also talked to officials of the United Nations and U.S. Embassy, who the administration describes as having no direct knowledge about the realities on the ground in connection with illegal drug operations. VP Robredo has also been insisting access to classified data. Vice President Robredo, on her part, vows to release public reports on their discoveries and recommendations for the government's anti-drug war.
Sa mga susunod na araw, magbibigay ako ng ulat sa bayan. Sasabihin ko ang aking natuklasan at ang aking mga rekomendasyon.
She also remains adamant, saying her dismissal by the president will not stop her, and this is just the beginning.
Kung sa tingin nila matatapos ito dito, hindi nila ako kilala. Nagsisimula pa lamang ako. Kung pareho naman ang ating layunin, bakit hindi na lang tayo magtulungan? Hindi ba talaga sila seryoso sa laban? O may interes ba tayong nabangga? Ano ba ang kinatatakutan ninyong malaman ko? Ano ba ang kinatatakutan ninyong malaman ng taong bayan?
Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson Panelo says the second top leader can do as she pleases and that her being fired from the position is due to her mere incompetence and failure to provide new measures to fight the drug menace in the country. Rosalie Cos, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Some senators believe that President Rodrigo Duterte's decision to remove Vice President Leni Robredo from the anti-drug body should be respected. They say as the appointing authority, the president also has the power to terminate any appointee from their post without any explanation. Nel Marie Buhok explains why.
Senator Joel Villanueva was a cabinet member of the previous administration. For him, the president has the power to remove any appointee from their post, like what happened to Vice President Leni Robredo, who was fired from being the co-chairperson of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs. Despite this, the senator is interested to know the details behind the president's move.
Nakakalungkot lang din na kumbaga parang na-endo talaga si VP Leni dahil in a span of 2 weeks hindi natin masyadong nakita kung ano yung what she can actually bring to the table.
For Senator Panfilo Lacson, there is no question with the president's decision. The senator insists, however, he did not see anything wrong with VP Robredo's actions in the anti-drug body.
I will maintain na tama yung paghingi niya ng high-value target list kasi kailangan malaman din niya ano yung extent ng problema. At ako nanghihinayang ako dahil again, I will say na she was on the right track in addressing the problem of drugs.
According to Senate President Vicente Soto III, the appointment of VP Robredo in ICAD is based on trust which was eventually lost and wasted. For Senator Christopher Bongo, it is not good to politicize the government's campaign against illegal drugs.
Naging politika na po yung issue ng campaign against drugs. Hindi na po makakabuti para sa Pilipino.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
5 days before the opening ceremony, the country's hosting of the 30th SEA Games has already gotten out on the wrong foot, from several logistical complaints to confusing hotel arrangements. Local organizers admit their mistakes and are sure to be more diligent. Joanano tells us why.
House Speaker and Philippine Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee or FISGOC Chair Alan Peter Cayetano on Sunday visited and apologized to the SEA Games teams affected by the delays in transportation and accommodation. Myanmar and Timor-Leste had to wait several hours for their buses to arrive at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, while Cambodia was forced to sleep on the floor in a conference room while waiting for their hotel accommodations. In a post, the FISGOC chair assures that the Philippine hosting will be great and meaningful for everyone. The Office of the President has also extended its apology for the inconvenience endured by the SEA Games athletes.
We would like to apologize, the Office of the President, to all those who have suffered some inconvenience by reason of delays in the transport as well as staying in the hotels. It is not intentional. We commit to do better next time. We're not offering an excuse.
Earlier, FISGOC apologized for the inconvenience caused by the confusion in hotel and transportation arrangement. FISGOC said it continues to strive to ensure proper coordination of the arrival details, airport welcome and transportation provisions of all international teams. The FISGOC statement didn't mention issues dealt with by defending champion Thailand, who were forced to cancel their training session at the Rizal Memorial Stadium after getting stuck in traffic. The Thai national team also complained they were given the same food items for every meal at Century Park Hotel and that the players were given only 4 bottles of drinking water a day. The former Commissioner General of the Royal Thai Police has ordered the competition management to provide enough sustenance for his country's national athletes, but FISGOC insisted it was able to sort out the problems after coordinating with the teams. Meanwhile, former national athlete and now full-time businessman Chris Chu has asked for support for Philippine athletes competing amid budget and logistic controversies hounding the sports community just a few days before the opening of the 2019 SEA Games. In an Instagram post, Chu calls on the Filipinos to use the opportunity to inspire the youth, promote good values, and unite as a nation. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue.
One of the causes of the issues in the Philippines hosting of the SEA Games is the delay in budget approval, according to a lawmaker. Meanwhile, a senator says they should not be blamed for the delay in the passage of the 2019 budget. Vincent Arboleda explains why.
The inconveniences experienced by some foreign athletes that have arrived in the country for the SEA Games are nothing new, according to one Pacman Party List representative Mikey Romero. Romero himself is a member of the country's polo team. He said that as an athlete, he experienced the same problems when other countries hosted the previous editions of the regional sporting event. Romero added that another reason for the mishaps is the different venues of the sports events. But according to the lawmaker, the real challenge is the delay in the SEA Games budget. Romero also urges FISGOC to double their efforts to accommodate all the athletes and guests for the SEA Games properly. Meanwhile, Romero's act of blaming Senate for the delay in passing of the budget was treated as an insult to the Senate leadership. According to Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, such accusation has no basis. He says if the billions of pesos worth of pork barrel was allowed, the amount can fill the 50 million peso SEA Games cauldron. Senator Panfilo Lacson also disproved Romero's statement.
No way. Kasi hindi naman kami yung cause ng delay. Ang naka-cause ng delay, yung 75 billion na in-insert pa ng House even after we both ratified yung BICAM report. So, hindi kami dapat ituro.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Philippine National Police raises their alert level to full alert status in some regions where the venues of the Southeast Asian Games are located beginning today. Lea Ilagan explains why.
The PNP forces are on full alert status in Region 1, 3, 4A and the National Capital Region since 8 o'clock this morning until December 14, 2019. PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac says they will deploy a total of 27,000 PNP personnel for the security of the SEAG Games.
Other police regional offices and national administrative support units will remain on heightened alert for the entire duration of the 30th SEAG Games.
Banac adds the PNP Highway Patrol Group or HPG will deploy 101 motorcycles, 29 mobile patrol units, and 175 personnel for the security of the delegates' convoy.
Prepared to respond to contingency scenarios such as road crashes, medical emergencies, bus breakdown, and CPR&E emergencies at the NLEX and other travel roads.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA will also deploy 22 motorcycle units. The Police Security and Protection Group or PSPG will assign 519 personnel to secure the delegates from billeting areas to the venues of the regional sporting event. Lea Ilagan, UNTV. News and Rescue come from.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. The Department of Health confirms another polio case in the country. The Philippine National Police arrests more than 200 individuals for vaping in public places. Farmers Group questions why pork and pork products from African swine fever affected areas still enter the country. Military rescue abducted British national and his Filipino wife from Abu Sayyaf bandits. And know the guidelines for the proper way of disciplining students based on DepEd's child protection policy. Good evening. The Department of Health reiterates the importance of vaccination for polio virus for children after it confirms 8th polio case in the country. Bernard Dadis explains why.
A 9-year-old girl in Basilan who has never received any vaccine for polio virus is the latest case confirmed by the Department of Health. According to the Health Department, this is the 8th case in the country as confirmed by the test results done by the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine and the National Institute of Infectious Diseases. The DOH is now coordinating with the Ministry of Health of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao to maximize immunization coverage and intensify polio vaccination campaign efforts in Basilan. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III assures the stocks of oral polio vaccine are sufficient. He also encouraged parents, especially in the National Capital Region and in Mindanao, to take advantage of the next round of massive oral polio virus vaccination, which starts today and will end on December 7 this year.
And urge all parents and caregivers of children under 5 years old to take part in the Sabayan Patak Contra Polio campaign, and please have your children vaccinated by our health workers.
Secretary Duque also said health workers and vaccination teams are set to go house to house to ensure all children under 5 years old will be vaccinated.
We are thankful for the participation and continued support of our local government units and their communities in this campaign. I'm confident that we will be successful in stopping or halting this outbreak if we continue to work together and make sure that no child is left unvaccinated.
Bernard Daddies, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Philippine National Police have made arrests of electronic cigarette users in over 2,000 operations nationwide. Even athletes at the Southeast Asian Games are reminded of their participation in the sporting event may be affected if they get arrested because of vape use. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, have arrested 243 vape users in 2,878 operations across the country. The police have also confiscated 318 vape gadgets and 666 pieces of vape juices. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac reports the Central Visayas region scores the highest in number of violators, which accounts for 195 arrests in 280 operations. In Metro Manila, 10 violators have been arrested.
So far, wala namang nag-resist doon sa ating pag-apprehend sa kanila, and everybody cooperated naman. So alam nila na ang kanilang ginagawa ay nagbubuga sila ng usok sa kapaligiran at hindi doon sa tamang lugar. Kaya peacefully sumunod naman sila sa ating mga kapulisan.
General Banac adds that after the documentation of the arrested suspects, they were released by the PNP. The PNP spokesperson also warns athletes who will participate in the upcoming SEAG Games against the use of e-cigarettes in public places to avoid arrest.
Ang lahat na mahuli nating mga pulis na mga manlalaro ay dadalhin din sa presinto. So sila po ay maabala at maaring maantala yung kanilang participation sa SEAG Games.
The police also remind vape stores across the country to remind their customers to avoid using e-cigarettes in public areas and conveyances. Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
No pork or pork products can enter the province of Negros Occidental beginning November this year. Meanwhile, consumers in the province are assured there is enough supply of pork. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
The Negros Occidental government will ban the entry of pork and other pork products from Luzon and other areas affected by the African swine fever or ASF starting next month.
In terms of the powers and authority sa task force and the provincial health office.
Violators shall pay a fine from 1,000 to 5,000 pesos and face possible imprisonment of 10 days after the publication of the ban. The ordinance will be signed tomorrow and becomes effective after 10 days. The Negros Occidental province implemented a temporary ban on pork last September 18 to last for 90 days. Meanwhile, the Provincial Veterinary Office assures the supply of pork and pork products in the province is sufficient. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
The Department of Education reminds teachers of the correct way of disciplining students. DepEd says the use of corporal punishment remains to be strictly prohibited in schools. Maya Bermudez details this report.
Dr. Ruby Trinidad, who has been a teacher for 15 years, has capitalized on sacrifice and patience every single day. He says he brings both virtues with him as he teaches Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao or ESP to his students. Dr. Trinidad shares the most effective way to discipline a child is talking to him or her like a family member.
Ibig sabihin, pag galit na ako, huminga ka na lang saglit, tapos harapin mo na ulit sila. Hindi kailangan silang bitawan ng mamasakit na salita. Kasi mahalaga pa rin sa akin yung buhay ng mga bata. Yung dignidad ba nila.
Under the Magna Carta for public school teachers, teachers have the right to undergo due process to air their side whenever there's an issue that involves them. Dr. Del Mundo, a school principal in Batangas, says it is wrong to put a teacher on trial by publicity even if he has been proven to shame or punish a child.
On our side naman sa leadership, mga principal, mga supervisor, yung teacher, yung bata, pareho naming anak yon. Kung sa kawan wala para kaming itulak o kabigin. Pareho naming anak. At pareho namin tinatrato ng ayos. Kung pareho may pagkakamali, may tamang process.
We asked a student and a parent what is the correct way of instilling discipline.
Kasi pinagsasabihan.
Kailangan pagsabihan niya lang yung estudyante na kung ano yung ginawa na hindi maganda. Kailangan itama niya kasi siya yung pangalawang magulang, di ba?
Based on the Child Protection Policy or DepEd Order No. 20 Series of 2012, any form of corporal punishment, abuse, discrimination, and violence on a student is prohibited.
No tayo to corporal punishment. Ayun yung physical forms of punishment. But there are also may mga ibang paraan din ng punishment na ipapataw. Kahit na hindi sila physical, ay kung ito naman ay humiliating or degrading, cruel para sa bata, hindi rin, yun din ay pinagbabawal din natin.
Anyone can report to the Office of the School Administrator or to DepEd through its hotlines any school-related violence. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
The World Health Organization says the misuse of antibiotics is now a global threat to human health. Experts warn not to use or take antibiotics without doctor's prescription. Aiko Miguel reports why.
The World Health Organization or WHO worries about the danger of the misuse and overuse of antibiotics worldwide. Based on a WHO report, 50% of antibiotics across the globe are misused by people. According to the Department of Health, if an antibiotic is used without doctor's prescription, it can lead to antimicrobial resistance. The DOH says simple cough and cold should not be cured by antibiotics.
Karamihan po ng mga sakit ay viral. Kung viral po, hindi po kailangan ng antibiotic noon. Kailangan lang po magpalakas ng resistensya, magpahinga at gagaling tayo. Umiinom lang po tayo ng antibiotics kung bacteria lang ating infection at malalaman lang po natin ito kung magpapatingin tayo sa ating doktor.
According to DOH spokesman Eric Domingo, one should not exceed or miss the usage of antibiotics once prescribed by a doctor. In 2015, 14,000 cases of antimicrobial resistance were recorded in the Philippines alone. Antimicrobial resistance makes it harder to eliminate infections from the body as existing drugs become less effective. This number is alarming, says the WHO, as this means diseases will not be cured easily or the individuals will have long-time illnesses. Antimicrobial resistance is usually caused by not following doctor's prescription on the intake of antibiotics, like stopping taking it without completing the number of days as prescribed. Diseases which are commonly drug-resistant are pneumonia, gonorrhea, tuberculosis, cholera, and urinary tract infection.
Halimbawa, naging resistant na sa mga currently available antibiotics ang mga mikrobyo, very prone syempre. Halimbawa, ang panganganak at ang mga babing maliliit. Pag naoperahan tayo, maaaring silang pasukan ng infeksyon at maaaring hindi natin magamot. Maaaring mapamahal ang gastusin natin sa pagpapagamot dahil yung mga bago na newly developed antibiotics are always more expensive.
It has also been a move by the health department to prohibit people from giving antibiotics to animals in farms consumed by people, as this may also cause antimicrobial resistance. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Oil companies are set to implement price cuts on their products tomorrow at 6 a.m. Shell and Petrogas will implement 20 centavos per liter price cut in gasoline, while 10 centavos per liter will be cut from diesel. Shell will also have 10 centavos per liter price rollback in kerosene. Meanwhile, Clean Fuel already implemented their price cuts on Sunday. Diesel price went down by 10 centavos per liter, while gasoline price was cut by 10 centavos per liter. Members Church of God International celebrates the feast dedicated to God and the 39th anniversary of the multi-awarded winning religious program, Ang Dating Daan. Rosalie Cos has this report.
No racial discrimination. no distinction of social status. These were felt by the guests who attended the feast dedicated to God and the celebration of the 39th anniversary of the longest-running religious program in the Philippines, ang Dating Daan. Everyone was warmly welcomed during the banquet and enjoyed various games and song and dance presentations prepared by members of the Church of God International or MCGI. Filipinos and other nationalities who came together for the occasion felt the unity and collaboration of the MCGI to help and serve people.
Naliligayaan ako sa nakikita ko. Masaya ako. Parang naluluha ako sa dami ng tao, ganito pala dito.
Yung kasi mga regular na mga fiestas na pupuntahan natin, siyempre may ingay, pero dito tahimik pero masaya. I mean, walang inuman, walang gulo, very organized ang mga tao. Nakikita natin na we can find peace and happiness in a peaceful way.
It's really amazing how people do here the services. You are poor, but you are sharing your own food. Even you also need, but you are sharing your own needs with other people. Like, it's very beautiful.
For 39 years, the program Ang Dating Daan has been teaching the spirit of unity and charity. The program is known among English speakers as the Old Path, El Camino Antiguo for Spanish-speaking countries, O Camino Antigo among Portuguese speakers, and Il Sentiero Antico in Italy. Global evangelization has been possible through technology. Today, Ang Dating Daan airs not only in the Philippine archipelago, but also in Asia Oceania, Nepal, India and various parts of the Middle East, Europe, Israel and Africa, North America, South and Central America.
Kung noon ay nagpasimula sa trompa, isang mikropono at ilaw sa poste ng Meralco, nagsasalita ang kapatid na Eli. Nakarating tayo sa radyo, nakarating tayo sa telebisyon, at sa awa ng Diyos, nagamit na natin at nagagamit natin ngayon ang teknolohiya, kagaya ng mga social media platforms at iba-iba pang mga paraan upang maabot ang ating mga kapwa-tao at kanilang mapakinggan ang aral ng Diyos.
Nag-aagtong tayo ng buhay sa tulong ng Diyos. Hindi tayo nang aapi ng kapwa, tinutulungan natin ang mga nangangailangan. Ang ating ginagawa, kalooban ng may-ari ng langit at lupa. Kalooban ng Diyos. Huwag kayong aatras mga kapatid. Mahirap po talaga. Mahirap ito. Mahirap yung gumawa ng mabuti. Magtanim ng halaman, maglinis ng kalye, magpakain ng mahirap, manggamot ng walang bayad. Pero ginagawa nating lahat ito na lumingap sa mga ulilat, babaeng bao, pakainin ang hindi natin kamag-anak, paliguan yung mga iniwanan ng kamag-anak. Tayo nagpapaligo, nagbibigay ng damit, naghahain, naghuhugas ng pinggan. Tayo rin. Katulong po kayong lahat at gumagastos tayo ng ating sariling pera. Hindi tayo nang hihingi sa daan. Ang ginagastos nating tulong galing sa ating mga pagpapagod at sa ating pawis. At ito ay para sa karangalan ng Diyos na nakilala natin sa Biblia.
No amount of persecutions and tribulations will hinder the Old Path and MCGI from upholding the truth through the gospel and good works. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Pampanga.
And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. A farmers group questions why pork and pork products from African swine fever affected countries can still enter the Philippines. The group also insists the slow distribution of assistance is the reason why other hog raisers still keep their swines. Ray Pelayo details why.
The number of culled hogs in the country has reached 70,000 since the African swine fever outbreak was officially announced in September this year. But the Bureau of Animal Industry, or WOES, says only 30% of those swines are infected by the virus. Most of the culled animals were within the 1-kilometer radius from ground zero that is part of the Agriculture Department's protocol.
Kaya po siya dumami para po maiwasan yung pagkalat, pati po yung mga katabi o posibleng nahawa, pinapatay na din po yan.
WOES Director Ronnie Domingo says the Philippines has suffered less than other countries infected by ASF like Vietnam with some 5.8 million hogs culled. Based on data from the agency, the number of ASF cases has lowered compared with those in the previous months. Farmers Group, Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura or SEAG, however, questions how the 7.6 million kilograms of pork from Germany was able to enter the country. Germany is among the ASF-affected countries. The group has also showed a pork product from Korea.
Ang Bureau of Customs should explain bakit itong mga pumapasok na Germany, bakit tuloy-tuloy in spite of walang SPSIC.
The slow distribution of assistance is the reason why other hog raisers still kept their pigs.
So ibig sabihin, 99.6% ng ating industriya ay hindi infected. Pero bakit ang nangyari is yung mga ibang backyard ayaw isurrender yung mga baboy dahil yung DBF mahina mag-release ng pera.
The SEAG chairman adds that 70 of the 81 provinces in the country are now implementing regulations on the movements of hogs. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, an Englishman and his Filipina wife have been freed from the hands of Abu Sayyaf group. The armed forces of the Philippines are confident they can rescue the bandits' kidnapped victims before the term of President Rodrigo Duterte ends. Dante Amento details why.
British national Alan Hirons and his Filipina wife Wilma were rescued by authorities at past 8 a.m. today in Parang Sulu. The couple were kidnapped in their beach resort in Zamboanga del Sur last October 4. AFP Western Mindanao Command spokesperson Major Arvin Jan Encinas says the victims were freed due to the AFP's continuous focused military operations against the Abu Sayyaf Group or ASG. A series of encounters has occurred since Friday between the soldiers and the bandits. 7 ASG members and sub-leaders were killed while 8 soldiers were injured.
Doon sa tuloy-tuloy na mga operations at talagang nagpursot po tayo at kanina nga ay narisko po natin itong mag-asawa na ito.
The AFP adds that no ransom money is involved in their operation. This is in spite of the Westmincom's latest pronouncement. There was a group asking for 50 million pesos for the Hirons couple's liberty. Strong pressure made the bandits leave their kidnapped victims behind.
Walang ransom involved considering na naka-stick po tayo doon sa ating policy na no ransom policy. At the same time, na-rescue po natin ang mga kasundaluhan.
An informant gave the victim's location. A pursuit military operation was conducted right away. The AFP remained positive they can neutralize the Abu Sayyaf bandits and rescue all their kidnapped victims before President Duterte's term ends in 2020. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
In other news, the South Korean ambassador to the Philippines, Han Dong-man, eyes visa-free policy between South Korea and the Philippines very soon. However, this cannot be implemented yet. Amiel Pascal qualifies why.
South Korea ambassador to the Philippines Han Dong-man says South Korea cannot implement a visa-free policy yet for Filipinos who want to travel to Korea. This is because the number of illegal Filipino immigrants in his country is increasing. But the diplomat is eyeing to have a visa-free policy between the two countries soon.
with hope, in the near future, we can have a free visa policy between Korea and the Philippines. But so far, there are certain numbers of illegal Filipinos in Korea. That's why our basic policy is that if we witness the drastic decrease of illegal people, naturally can have a free visa policy.
According to the official, around 15,000 Filipinos are working illegally in South Korea. This number is higher than that in the past year, he adds. The diplomat has directed his staff in their Manila office to facilitate ways to simplify the visa application so that more qualified Filipinos can visit their country.
So I asked my staff to issue as many multiple visas as possible. So we introduced a 10-year multiple visa category also. So we'll continue to provide multiple visa to the qualified Filipino people. And also with your Department of Justice, and also with the Korean Department of Justice, we'll try to control or to lower the number of illegal people so that eventually we can have a free visa policy in one day.
The Embassy of the Republic of Korea in Manila processes 500 to 1,000 visa applications every day. Last month alone, over 55,000 Filipinos traveled to South Korea, which is higher than the arrivals from the Philippines in the same period last year, according to the Korea Tourism Organization's website. Amiel Pascual, UNTV News and Rescue, South Korea.
President Rodrigo Duterte and South Korean President Moon Jae-in meet for the third time during the sidelines of the 2019 ASEAN Republic of Korea Summit. Filipinos may also expect the South Korean president in Manila next year. Here is Amiel Pascual live from South Korea. Yes, Amiel, good evening.
Good evening, William. The two-day commemorative summit between South Korea and 10 member states of the ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations, has started in Busan, South Korea. On the sidelines, a bilateral meeting was held this afternoon between President Rodrigo Duterte and South Korean President Moon Jae-in. This is the third time the two presidents meet. The Philippines and South Korea signed agreements on social security, tourism, fisheries, and education. Both countries also signed a joint statement on the early achievement of package on the negotiation on a free trade agreement. Meanwhile, Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez reveals that President Duterte invited South Korean President Moon Jae-in to visit the Philippines next year. The two countries eyed to sign a free trade agreement in 2020. Before this, President Duterte and some of his cabinet members met with the top executives of South Korean companies in a courtesy call. And tomorrow, William, at the second day of the summit, a welcome dinner is prepared by the South Korean leader for the leaders of the ASEAN member states. And that's the latest here from Busan, South Korea. William?
Yes, thank you, Amiel Pascual, live from Busan, South Korea. The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, and the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, nabbed a ship for carrying toxic waste from South Korea on November 22nd in Zambales. In a post from the PCG, authorities arrested the master and crew of a merchant ship carrying 53,000 metric tons of toxic substance from Gwangyang Port, South Korea. According to the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, or DNR, phosphogypsum is a radioactive substance due to the presence of naturally occurring radioactive elements. The PCG said the team immediately boarded the ship and requested the master to present the cargo permits for such operation, but he failed to do so. And for the news abroad, here's RL Kamiya reporting live from Takatsuka, Japan. RL, good evening.
Good evening, William. Pro-democracy candidates claimed a resounding victory Monday in all Hong Kong districts, with prominent figures of the city's long-running protests becoming councillors. Stephanie C. reports.
Pro-democracy candidates won at least 387 of the 452 district council seats, almost 90%, implying strong social support for groups that mobilized mass protests in Hong Kong since June. Despite fears the vote could be disrupted or cancelled over the unrest, the Chinese territory's district council elections went ahead peacefully. The election was seen as a test of support for the government after months of unrest, protests, and clashes. The government and Beijing had been hoping the election would bring a show of support from the so-called silent majority, but that did not materialize. Instead, some significant pro-Beijing candidates lost council seats. One controversial pro-Beijing lawmaker who lost his seat, Junius Ho, said heaven and earth have been turned upside down. Hong Kong's district councillors have little political power and mainly deal with local issues such as bus routes and rubbish collection, so the district elections don't normally generate such interest. But these polls were the first time people could express at the ballot box their opinion on embattled Chief Executive Carrie Lam's handling of the crisis, which was sparked by a now withdrawn extradition bill. A record 4.1 million people had registered to vote, more than half the population. And more than 2.9 million people cast votes for the 452 seats available, a turnout of more than 71% against 47% in 2015. The weekend was the first in months without any clashes or violence between protesters and police. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue.
U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper has fired Navy Chief Richard Spencer over his handling of the case of a Navy SEAL demoted for misconduct. The case of Edward Gallagher, who was convicted for posing with a corpse, had sparked tensions between President Donald Trump and military officials. The Navy officer had been due to face a disciplinary review where he could have been stripped of his SEAL's membership. A 23-year-old man has been charged with human trafficking after the bodies of 39 people were found in the back of a refrigerated lorry in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, the death toll from landslides in northwestern Kenya, triggered by unusually heavy rains, continues to rise. Jovic Bermas details why.
In Kenya, at least 60 people have died in landslides in West Pokot County in northwestern Kenya following days of heavy rains. The mudslides on Saturday were a result of several days of intense downpours and destroyed bridges, roads, and houses in the villages of Tapach near Kulian and Palua in Pokot South Sub-County and Tamkal in Pokot Central Sub-County. An official from the West Pokot County government said 53 people died, mostly in mudslides. She said 7 people were reported missing. Late Saturday, the government announced the deployment of military and police helicopters to assist in rescue efforts and meet the immediate needs of affected families. In Europe, flooding pounded France and Italy amid heavy rains over the weekend, leaving at least 3 dead and a stretch of elevated highway collapsed by a landslide, officials said Sunday. The weather has trapped travelers down trees and unleashing mudslides in parts of both countries. A 30-meter section of highway along a viaduct near the flooded Italian coastal city of Savona collapsed, leaving cars perched perilously on a precipice. Liguria government Giovanni Totti said a landslide caused the collapse in a muddy, hilly area. Firefighters were using dogs to sniff out any possible victims in 2-meter-high debris of mud. And in the United Kingdom, a man has been formally charged with trafficking offenses after 39 Vietnamese people were found dead in a refrigerated lorry. The bodies were found in a refrigerated container in an industrial complex in the English county of Essex on 23rd of October. Christopher Kennedy, 23, of County Armagh in Northern Ireland, was arrested early on Friday on a motorway in Buckinghamshire. He has been charged with conspiracy to arrange or facilitate the travel of people with a view to exploitation and conspiracy to facilitate the commission of a breach of UK immigration law. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the stories from around the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, R.L. Kamiya, reporting live from Takatsuka, Japan. Defending champion AFP Cavaliers and rookie team DENR Warriors remain undefeated as the League of Public Servants enter the second round eliminations. Bernard Dadis has more details.
Three-time champion AFP Cavaliers denied NHA Builders a chance for revenge after the Season 7 third-placer lost in a neck-and-neck battle on Thursday at the San Juan Gymnasium 86-84. The Bennett Pilot-led Hoopsters never won against the AFP during their three battles last season. Boyet Bautista and Jerry Lumungsod, with combined 36 points, were hailed best players of the game as they led the Cavaliers towards maintaining an untainted record. The Builders dominated in rebounds with 51 against 20 for the Cavaliers, but the NHA struggled with 21 turnovers. The Cavaliers outsmart the Builders in assists with 14 for the Soldiers against 9 of the NHA.
Yes, it's a hard-fought game. Alam naman namin talaga na yung NHA malakas talaga yan since before dahil kumpleto rin sila. Siguro breaks off the game lang. Medyo sinuwerte lang kami nung huli.
Well, sa breaks din hindi nagpapasok yung mga tira namin. Medyo napabayaan sa fast break nila, sa mga opensa nila, pumasok yung mga 3 points. So medyo sinuwerte sila Pero overall, maganda naman nilalaro ng mga players.
The Agriculture Food Masters nearly stopped rookie team DNR Warriors' winning streak on Thursday's second game, 94-85.
Sinabihan ko lang yung mga players ko na we have to remember that we are playing as a team. If we continue to play individually, tatambakan talaga tayo. A good thing that the players responded.
Despite the loss of star player Ralph Lansang, other Warriors shown such as Ryan Abanez, who exploded with 23 points, and Desiderio Aizon with 18 points.
Nung nag-run na yung DNR, medyo nataranta yung mga bata, nawalan tayong composure, pero we lost to a better team.
Meanwhile, Malacanang PSC Camao improved their record to 5 wins and 1 loss as they demolished PhilHealth Plus 98-91. Camao's Javier brothers were hailed as the best players of the game with combined 21 points, while Eric De La Cuesta contributed 20 points.
So, no first half, wala kami depensa. Binigay namin yung laro, kaya ang taas ng score ng first half, 47 all. So, sinabi ko lang sa dugout, guys, hindi yan ang laro natin. Kailangan natin dumipensa, kailangan natin dumipensa ng ayos, kailangan natin magsakripisyo kung gusto talaga natin makakuha tong game na to.
Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Thousands of visitors joined Members Church of God International in the ADD Convention Center in Apalit, Pampanga, as the group celebrated their second feast dedicated to God. Guests went home thankful after availing of free medical assistance and public services. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
Persons with disabilities, the elderly, the poor and needy,
They were the special guests invited by Members Church of God International as the group held a worldwide celebration of a feast dedicated to God. The center of celebration is in the Ang Dating Daan or ADD Convention Center in Apalit, Pampanga, where guests feasted on a huge banquet with lechon and other dishes. There was also a huge free store where anyone can pick any item, not worrying about paying for their choice of clothes, slippers, bags, and other clothing items. Even the kitchenware is free.
Ano yung mga nakuha mo? Sapatos po, damit, tapos chinelas po. Masaya! Masaya po! Sobrang saya!
Not only are the food and clothes free, but also the services in the one-stop shop. Here, visitors availed of assistance from the government insurance system, Pag-ibig Fund, Social Security System, Philippine Statistics Authority, and the Philippine Postal Corporation. The visitors were thankful for the free services.
Maganda, malaki may tutulong nito kasi direkta na rito.
The MCGI also have offered free medical and dental checkup, free legal assistance, free massage and haircut, plus free medicines.
Ang ating mga available na gamot, usually yung po mga need po o mga nirereseta ng ating mga medical doctors, yung po may mga ubot, sipon, nilalagnat, and yung po mga pasyente po natin na bubunutan sa araw po na ito.
More than 1,000 individuals availed of services from the one-stop shop and MCGI's medical mission at yesterday's celebration in Apalit, Pampanga. Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this November 25, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltazar and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Kung sa tingin nila matatapos ito dito, hindi nila ako kilala. Nagsisimula pa lamang ako. Sa mga susunod na araw, magbibigay ako ng ulat sa bayan. Sasabihin ko ang aking natuklasan at ang aking mga rekomendasyon.
I would like to apologize the Office of the President to all those who have suffered some inconvenience by reason of delays in the transport as well as staying in the hotels. It is not intentional. We commit to do better next time. We're not offering an excuse.
So far, wala namang nag-resist doon sa ating pag-apprehend sa kanila, and everybody cooperated naman. So alam nila na ang kanilang ginagawa ay nagbubuga sila ng usok sa kapaligiran.
Ang Bureau of Customs should explain bakit itong mga pumapasok na Germany, bakit tuloy-tuloy in spite of walang SPSIC.
Walang ransom involved, considering na naka-stick po tayo doon sa ating policy na no ransom policy. At the same time, na-rescue po natin ang mga kasunod.